Good evening, Priti, Abhinav, and Anija.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Let's wait for a minute for everyone to join. Okay, children. So we started with the questions of NCRT and we discussed a few questions in the last class. We are going to continue with the same. We will cover all the NCRT questions first of all, and then we will move forward. So we did these questions. Let's move to the next question. So let us start the NCRT questions. Okay, children. First question on this page is, why does the color of copper sulfate solution change when when an iron nail is dipped in it? Anija, we will start with you. Can you answer the question?
Ma'am, because iron is more reactive than copper and copper displaces from the copper sulfate solution. That's why.
This is from copper sulfate. Yes. Iron is able to displace copper from its salt solution. Okay. I hope this is clear to everyone. I request everybody to keep their videos turned on. Only then I'll be able to move ahead with the class. Please hurry up.
Ma'am, please wait, ma'am. I'm eating, ma'am.
Aryan, Dhairya, Shayan, please hurry up.
Ma'am, please wait, ma'am.
Others, please turn on your video quickly. Abhinav, Meher.
Ma'am, I will turn it in 1 minute.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, beta. Subhanshu, also keep your video turned on.
Yes, ma'am. Just a sec.
Sudhamshu, Dhairya, how many times do I need to repeat the same thing? Keep your video turned on. So we have discussed this first question. But I'll add a page here only so that I can write the equations. That's the main concern I had. Okay. So the first question involves the reaction between the copper sulfate as well as the iron nail. So copper sulfate reacting with iron It leads to the formation of iron sulfate and copper, and that is why we see the color change from blue to green. Next, Abhinav, second question is for you. Give an example of double displacement reaction other than the one given in activity 1.10. You give me any example of double displacement reaction.
Ma'am, AgNO3 plus NaCl gives AgCl plus
That's
NaNO3.
very good. Gives AgCl plus NaNO3. Next question. Next question will be answered by Dhriti. Dhriti, the question is that you have to identify the substance oxidized and substance reduced in this equation.
Ma'am, for first part only.
Yes, only the first part you will tell. I'll ask the second part from someone else.
Ma'am, Na is getting oxidized and O2 is getting reduced.
Very good. Substance oxidized is Na and substance reduced is O2. Abhigya,
Ma'am, for the second part, copper is getting reduced.
copper.
Yes, ma'am.
It is in the product side. I explained that these answers are always from the reactant side. Jumna. Tell me where the oxidation is happening.
Ma'am, hydrogen is getting oxide.
Substance oxidized is hydrogen. And what about the substance reduced?
Ma'am, it's copper.
It's not copper, Abhigya, it's copper oxide.
Acha, हाँ. Yes, ma'am.
Reactants are the part of these answers.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay.
Clear, everyone? Any doubt, anyone?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Then let's move to the back exercise questions. I just quickly check with the question. Or we can do a few MCQ questions directly over here. Okay, now who is supposed to answer? RM, please answer the first question. Which of the following statements about the reaction below are incorrect? You have to tell. So yeah, the equation given is a redox reaction. You have to select the correct option. Just a second. Subhansh, there is Sudhamshu and Abhigya. Why is it so difficult to understand to keep your videos down?
Ma'am, I was just sending you some questions I received from my school on WhatsApp.
Sarah, why is your video turned off and Meher also?
My video is not working. I'll rectify it before next class.
Dhairya and Sudhamshu, are you even there in the class or not? Okay. RN, yes, please go ahead.
Ma'am, option A.
Option A. So he is saying that we have to select the incorrect one. So according to him, lead is getting reduced. Absolutely incorrect. Why? Because lead is on the product side. There only the answer becomes simple that it is incorrect. Then
Ma'am, carbon dioxide is getting oxidized.
again, carbon dioxide is getting oxidized is also incorrect. Why? Because the same reason that it is on the product side, and I have already explained you that the answers for the reduced substance, the oxidized substance, oxidizing agent, reducing agent, all of these will be from the reactant side. Then, but you have to check the reactant side also. It might be a possibility that the other things might be incorrect. So carbon is getting oxidized. Yes, that's true. As per the equation, it is getting converted into carbon dioxide, and then lead oxide is getting reduced. That's also correct. So option 1 is the correct answer. Next answer will be given by Sai Siddhartha. Can you please answer the second question? You have to identify the type of reaction this one is. Sai, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Reaction is an example of displacement reaction.
The displacement reaction, the more reactive element is displacing a less reactive element. Next question has to be answered by Shayan. Shayan, the question says, what happens when dilute hydrochloric acid is added to iron fillings? Tick the correct option. So HCl is hydrochloric acid, Fe is iron fillings. Tell me the answer. Shayan?
Hydrogen gas and iron chloride are produced.
Very good. That's absolutely correct. Iron chloride is produced, along with that hydrogen gas is released. After this, Shubhansh, next question. What is a balanced chemical equation? Why should a chemical equation be balanced?
A balanced chemical equation is an equation where the number of atoms are equal on both reactant and the product side.
And why
The
should the equation be
chem-
balanced?
chemical equation should be balanced to satisfy the law of conservation of mass.
That's absolutely correct. Now let us all translate these equations and convert them into balanced equation. I think we have already done these. 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th question.
Yes,
Ma'am, you
ma'am.
gave homework.
All 4, right? So let's move to the 9th question directly. Meher, can you tell me the answer for the next question, 9th one? What does one mean by exothermic and endothermic reactions with example?
Endothermic reaction is a reaction in which heat is absorbed and exothermic heat is released.
Can you tell me any example for the same?
Oh, ma'am, I have to refer to the book.
Who can tell me the answer? Dhairya, can you tell me any example for endothermic reaction or an exothermic reaction? Dhairya, are you there?
May I say?
Hmm?
Ma'am, I know, ma'am.
Just wait for a moment, Aaron. If they do not answer, then I will of course ask. Okay, go ahead and tell me because I don't think so others are going to unmute.
Ma'am, I think endothermic means it absorbs energy, no, ma'am. Ma'am, so then it it like, ma'am, for example, H2 electrolysis, no, ma'am. If you provide it, no, not electrolysis.
The energy is evolved in this.
Ma'am, may I tell?
Yes, please.
Ma'am, for endothermic, the example can be of photosynthesis, and
Very
for
In
exothermic,
exothermic, it will be
it will be like a respiration.
yes. And in case of endothermic, since energy is absorbed, and the example is photosynthesis. Aryan, electrolysis would have been the example of endothermic. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
chaliye. Let's move to the next question. Now I'll give a chance to anyone who wants to answer, but I don't want repetition. Who can tell me why is respiration considered as exothermic? Now the same question has been asked. We wrote the same example. Why do we call it as exothermic in nature? Abhigya?
Ma'am, it is so because heat is getting evolved.
In the form of
Uh,
ATP.
yes, ma'am.
So in case of respiration, the food which we eat, I'll write it somewhere. Or I'll try to write here only. The food, this is question number 10th. The food which we eat reacts with oxygen and releases energy which we use to do the work. Fine? Which we use to do our work. And that is why we call this as exothermic reaction. 11th question, Shayan. Why are decomposition reactions called the opposite of combination reactions? Write equations for these reactions.
Because in combination reaction, two elements combine to form one new chemical compound, while in decomposition, compound decomposes into two or more two simple substances. Example, MgCl, two it converts into MgCl.
I'm unable to hear you clearly. In case of combination, two or more reactants combine. Two or more reactants combine to form one product. Whereas in case of decomposition reaction, one reactant breaks down to form two or more products. Clear, children? And when we have to give the example, we can write the example of water only. H2 plus O2, this gives us H2O, whereas in case of decomposition, water on passing electricity, it leads to the formation of hydrogen and oxygen gas. I hope this much is clear to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we have 12th question. I'll try to insert it in the Word file if it works. I don't know what is happening. The next question, meanwhile, I'll read from the book. The question says, write one equation each for decomposition reaction where energy is supplied in the form of heat, light, and electricity. So, Abhinav, we will start from you.
Can you repeat the question?
I'll show the question as well. Just give me a moment. You can see the question number 12. You have to tell me only one reaction where energy is involved in the form of heat, light, or electricity. So you tell me for heat.
Ma'am, for heat, thermal decomposition, 2FeSO4
Very good.
with heat gives Fe2O3 plus SO2 plus SO3.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. And you can write any other thermal decomposition reaction also. Now, who hasn't got the chance? Meher, can you tell me any reaction in any decomposition reaction where energy is supplied in the form of heat, in the form of light?
Photosynthesis.
No. We will not consider photosynthesis as a decomposition reaction, first of all.
Ma'am, I
Ma'am, I don't know.
What are you saying, Meher?
Ma'am, I don't know.
Subhansh, can you tell me?
Ma'am, I knew the form of electricity, not in light.
Not of light. Who knows for light? Who will tell me?
Ma'am, I know.
Yeah, okay, go ahead, tell me.
Ma'am, 2AgCl gives us 2Ag plus Cl2.
Very good. That's absolutely correct. In case of light, you have two major examples. One is AgCl, breakdown of AgCl to give Ag plus Cl2. And or you may also use the example of AgBr, 2 AgBr gives 2 Ag plus Br2. Now electricity, psi, you can tell me for electricity. Psi. Sai Siddhartha, are you there?
From where tends to electricity?
Okay, Subhansh, tell.
Electrolysis of water.
Tell me the reaction. You cannot write electrolysis of water, it will not.
H2 when passed through electricity gives H2 plus O2.
Yes. So when we pass electricity through water, it leads to the formation of hydrogen and oxygen gas. Let's move to the 13th question now. What is the difference between displacement and double displacement reaction? Who is going to tell me? Aryan, why is your video turned off?
Sorry, ma'am, I went outside for a minute.
Sudhamshu, are you there in the class, dear? Sudhamshu? Dharya, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Dharya, the difference between
Ma'am, I can't hear you, ma'am.
I'm asking, can you tell me the difference between displacement and double displacement reaction?
Ma'am, I'm not able to hear you.
Huh. I want to tell the answer to this one. Please just tell me what is displacement reaction.
Ma'am, displacement reaction is a reaction where a more reactive element displaces a less reactive one.
Yes, the reaction in which a more reactive element displaces a less reactive element. Sai Siddharth, are you there? Shayan,
Yes,
what
ma'am.
is displacement reaction?
Ma'am, I cannot hear you, ma'am. Can you repeat it again?
Sai, are you able to hear me?
No, ma'am, I cannot.
Wow, you cannot hear me and you are answering me back that ma'am
Ma'am,
no.
now I can hear you, ma'am. Previously, I couldn't hear you when you were telling action.
Double displacement reaction.
Ma'am, double displacement reactions is where exchange of ions happen, ma'am.
That's absolutely correct. The reaction in which exchange of ions takes place. Exchange of ions takes place. And then you can write one example for both of them. So here we can take the very simple example of CuSO4 plus Fe. It leads to the formation of FeSO4 plus Cu. Whereas here we can take the example of PbNO3 whole twice. Children, what reaction I'm writing just now, it is a very important reaction. It involves a lot of questions. So I'll suggest everyone to memorize this reaction because actually it is very important. This reaction, PbNO3 plus Ki, this gives us PbI2 plus KNO3. Because of the yellow formation of yellow precipitate, generally this reaction is asked in the form, tell a double displacement reaction in which a yellow precipitate is formed and so on. Fine. Let's see the 14th question. Aryan has to tell me the 14th question. Aryan, the question says, in the refining of silver, the recovery of silver from silver nitrate solution involved displacement by copper metal. Write down the reaction involved. Can you tell me what would be the reaction?
Ma'am, just could you show that question, ma'am? AgNO3 plus Cu, then CuNO3.
AgNO3 plus Cu. This will give us
Cu. Wait a minute. Ma'am, CuNO3 taken twice.
whole twice. Yes. And
Plus Ag.
yes. And if you have to balance this, so it will be this. Good.
Ma'am, is double displacement reaction always has two compounds, or it
Yes.
can have more?
No. Always two only.
Okay,
Not
ma'am.
more than two, and both of them as salts only.
Okay, ma'am.
Fine. Okay. So Abhigya, now you can answer me the 15th question. What do you mean by a precipitation reaction? Explain by giving examples.
Ma'am, it is a reaction in which aqueous solution of two compounds uh, react on mixing to form an insoluble compound which separates out as solid.
Yes, which separates as an insoluble solid. So basically, the reaction in which an insoluble solid is formed. Insoluble solid, in the bracket you will mention that it is the precipitate we are talking about, is formed, is called double displacement reaction. I'm sorry, it's called a precipitation reaction. Example, you can take again the same reaction which I just said. PbNO3 whole twice plus 2Ki. This gives us PbI2 yellow precipitate plus 2KNO3. Fine. Let's move to the next question. Shayan, now you may answer. Explain the following terms in terms of gain or loss of oxygen with two examples each. Tell me for oxidation.
Oxidation reaction, gain of oxygen, and in reduction, loss of oxygen.
Very good. In case of oxidation, the addition of oxygen occurs because we are supposed to tell in the case of oxygen only. So addition of oxygen occurs. Whereas in case of reduction, the removal of oxygen occurs. Removal of oxygen occurs. The example for oxidation is Mg plus O2 gives MgO. Apart from that, you may consider the example of CuO plus H2. It leads to the formation of Cu plus H2O. Same for the reduction, you can write the same example, or you may take another example, ZnO plus C. This gives us Zn plus Co. Or the second example, you can consider PbO plus C. This gives us Pb plus CO. Okay, children? Any doubts still here? No? Okay. Let's move to the next question, 17th one. A shiny brown colored element X on heating in air becomes black in color. Name the element X and the black colored compound. Who hasn't got a chance? Who will tell me the answer for this one?
Ma'am, may I?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, Abhigya, go ahead.
Ma'am, the the element X is copper and the black colored compound.
What are you looking at and telling me the answer?
Ma'am, it's my book set.
Okay. Black colored compound is?
Copper oxide.
Children, I'll just give you a small trick to remember. It's not actually a trick, just a thing which I want everyone to remember because generally it is asked in the paper. There are two black compounds in the entire chapter which you have studied. One compound which you have studied is the corrosion of silver. In that, you have to remember that the color of the reactant will be either silver or gray written in the question. Whereas the other black compound which you have studied in the entire chapter is copper oxide, and the initial color of the reactant in this case will be copper. Because just when we finish with the NCERT question, I'll provide you with the, or I'll just wait. I'll tell you another question which is related to this only. So the question, as far as I remember, was that a compound X, initial of the question was the same. Compound X on reaction in air, this is not of NCERT. On reaction in air forms Y, which is black in color, and Y on reaction with HCl produces Z, which is blue-green in color. Yeah, there were 3 questions for this. First, we have to identify X, Y, Z. Then we have to identify the type of reaction, and then we have to write the reaction. So we will start with writing of the reaction. Then it will involve everything. So what will be the first reaction? The first reaction would be Ayanaja.
Yes, ma'am.
What will be the first reaction?
Ma'am, Cu plus O gives us copper oxide.
Yes, Cu plus O2 gives us Cu2O. This is the balanced equation. Sai, can you tell me which will be the second reaction? Reaction of Y with HCl.
Ma'am, Cl, CO plus HCl gives rise to CuOH plus.
No. Shayan, can you tell? Shayan, you are on mute.
I don't know.
You don't know? Meher, can you try?
Ma'am,
Subha.
I think it's CuCl plus H2O.
It's CuCl2 plus H2O. That's absolutely correct. This is Z and it is blue-green in color. So you should know all these colors. Means even if you don't remember the exact colors of all, but you should know the relationship amongst these, because questions like this will come and this will carry 3 marks. Why? Because they ask 3 things in the question. First, they ask to identify X, Y, Z. Fine. Then they ask to identify the type of reaction, which I will discuss just now. And then they ask to write the reaction. So it will at least carry 3 or maybe 5 marks also it can carry. Okay, tell me the first reaction, what is the type of the reaction?
Oxidation.
Or other thing?
Combination.
Oxidation, correct. And combination. You can write either of these because both of these are applicable. Tell me about the next one.
Double displacement.
Very good. There is another reaction for this one. That's the precipitation reaction. Double displacement as well as precipitation, because this is a blue-green precipitate which is formed. I hope this is clear to everyone. Let's move
Yes,
to
ma'am.
the 15th question. Why do we apply paints on iron articles? Very easy.
Ma'am,
Prevent corrosion or rusting.
Prevent the attack of iron or air or moisture on the iron articles. Fine. Next
Yes,
question.
ma'am.
Oil and fat containing food items are flushed with nitrogen. Why?
To avoid rancidity.
But it is incomplete. To prevent rancidity, because nitrogen is
Inert
Inert.
gas.
very good. Because nitrogen is inert in nature? Inert in nature. Let's move to the last question of this chapter of NCERT. Explain the following terms with one example each. Who will tell me what is corrosion? Very easy. Nobody knows?
Ma'am, can I?
Okay.
Ma'am, corrosion is the attack of air on metals.
Air or moisture on the metal leading to the degradation of the metal surface. The quality of the metal degrades, you have to mention that. What is the example of corrosion?
Ma'am, rusting of iron.
Very good. You have to know the examples by writing the reaction term. Okay?
Ma'am,
Tell me.
Fe plus O2 gives rise to Fe2O3.
Incomplete.
Uh,
Fe2O2 plus XH2O. The reaction is Fe plus O2 plus XH2O. This gives rise to Fe2O3 dot XH2O. This is discussed.
okay, ma'am.
Fine. This is the balanced equation 6, 3. Fine.
Ma'am,
Then,
what is X?
what is rancidity, Meher, you want to tell?
Asking what is X?
X is the number of water molecules. X is 1, 2, any number.
Okay, ma'am.
Who will tell me what is rancidity? Dhairya, are you there in the entire class? You were not able to hear. I don't know what you were doing in the class then.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
What is rancidity?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, rancidity is oxidation of oils when they are kept in the air. Yeah. Oils.
Fat present in the food. Example, you can write the spoilage of food if kept outside. What other example you can take for this? Right? Is there any doubt any of you is having in this entire chapter?
No.
No? Right. So you have to revise this chapter. In the next class also, I'm going to continue with this chapters. A few questions I will discuss with you all. Then from the next class, probably we are going to start with a new chapter. Revise this chapter thoroughly. Also, I will be asking you doubts in the next class. In case you have any doubts, you may please come up with the doubts in the next class. Clear, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, have a good day, everyone. Revise and please come in the next class. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Ma'am. Bye, ma'am.